Welcome to Genetics. This is Professor Bittner, and I'm going to give you a short orientation to the course because I know that some of you are a little nervous maybe about taking an partial online course, or you just want to know kind of how things are set up and what you need to know to get started. So I will be meeting you this week, and I definitely want to hear from you before then if you'd like. If you have any questions, there are some things that I want you to get started with, and so that's part of my motivation of making this short orientation. So what I have here is the eCampus site, and typically when you come up to the eCampus site, it should open up at announcements, and I will be adding an announcement there, and that's probably how you knew to come and listen to this little orientation, which is under syllabus. And so what I'm going to do is go through a few things on the syllabus, and of course I want you to read the syllabus itself. You can do that on your own. I'm going to highlight some things from the schedule right now and then show you where to find things on the eCampus site and how to get started before we meet this week in lab. So I'm going to click on the schedule actually. So this is your course schedule, and it shows a lot of the important information in terms of what's due, what's happening each week. You'll notice that the weeks are color-coded. There's a sort of a pink section here, and that goes all with exam 1. Then there's a green section here, and that goes with exam 2. And then there's a blue section, and that goes up to the final exam. So roughly three exams, roughly divided into equal thirds. Of course, spring break occurring right here. And so you'll notice the exams, exam 1 covers chapters 1 through 6, exam 2 covers chapters 7 through 12, and then the final covers the rest of the chapters from the book. Except chapter 17, we do skip one chapter, but we are covering the whole book virtually, and so you definitely want to buy the book or have online access to the book. The book is important. I do teach some classes, and in some classes I say don't buy the book, but for genetics I really do use it, and you're going to want to have it. It will affect you if you don't have it. That's another way to put it. So what you see here, of course, classes don't technically begin until January 22nd, but I have 2 chapters, chapter 1 and 2, lectures. These would be the text chapters and the lectures that were scheduled for this week. There's nothing to turn in, just that if you want to keep up, you really need to do the chapters in the week that they're assigned. And this helps you to finish out on time and be prepared for the exam. So chapters 1 through 6 go with exam 1. Also, you have some homework. The homeworks are sort of highlighted in this blue color. You have homework 1, which is a problem set that fundamentally focuses on specific problem solving in chapters 2 and 3. You have a second homework, which are some case studies. So really just 2 homeworks that are actually graded. The rest of what you're doing at home is listening to your recorded lectures and taking good notes so that when you get to the exam, you have good notes that you're studying from. There would be no way that you could get to this very last week before exam 1 and do all the chapters at once. It would be crazy. You really need to keep up. There's there's a lot of work in this course. You can totally make an A or a B or a C, but you're going to do some work. It's not going to just be a last minute kind of thing. So you want to think about whether you have the time and the discipline to get it done as you go. The other grades that you have in black boldface, you see on each week you have a lab grade. These are smaller grades. but they come on a more regular basis, so you can get very good grades in lab, and really that's going to help with maybe slightly lower exam grades because the exams are tough. It's also pretty reasonable to do well on the homeworks, but again, those are smaller grades. So it really all comes down to the exam grades. The exams are worth 200 points each. There are 3 of them, so that's 600 points. So 60% of your course grade is from the exams. 30% is from the total of your smaller lab grades, and 10% from the 2 homeworks. Now you'll notice as part of your lab grade you'll do an oral presentation, which comes down at the end of the semester here. You'll only present 1 time, but I spread them out across 3 sessions so that we listen to 4 or 5 presentations each week. And you'll be getting some instructions for those later, but don't panic. It's a very fairly informal presentation on biotechnology, and students always do well on that. So what you ultimately have are these 3 exam periods, 2 graded homeworks, and then just a regular lab grade that goes through the whole semester. So what are you supposed to be doing for lecture? Well, I post recorded lectures on eCampus. There's a link that I'll show you in a minute. And what I would like you to do is print out the PowerPoint and take really good notes as you listen to the lecture, almost like we were in a classroom. The only part of it that will be missing is if you have a question, you won't be able to ask me right then. You'll have to write it down, send me an email. You can use Remind to send me a text, and or just write down the question and bring it to lab. So you'll have to take that extra effort to ask questions if you have them. Now the nice thing about the recorded lectures, though, that you can't do in a live class is you can put me on pause, you can rewind me, and because the lectures are uploaded to YouTube, you'll get not a transcript, but you'll get the closed captioning, which occasionally makes a mistake, but actually I find that it's pretty good. It may not be perfect, but I think it helps a lot to read along as you're listening and writing. And you can pause me, you can rewind me. If you get sick of me, you can turn me off. So that's nice, but the downside is you can't ask a question right at that moment. You have to take the extra effort to do that separately. So let's go back to the eCampus site. So let's look at lecture materials. So Learning Module 1 is everything you need for Exam 1. So when you go into this folder here, I've already posted all the PowerPoints for chapters 1 through 6. And then these are the links to the recorded lecture segments. And I'll add in more of them all the way through chapter 6. And I'll even have some extra tutorials for chapters 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. We'll have extra tutorials. So all of those things that's what you're doing, taking notes and then working through the tutorials and then getting questions answered. That's what you're doing on your time. And then when you come to lab, I would like you to print out your lab manual before the first lab meeting if you can. And we are actually going to do a lab activity the first week, so you're going to want that. You print it out once, punch holes, put it in a binder, bring it with you every week. I know you think you're going to print out one each week, but you're going to forget sometimes. And that's going to be a hassle for you. And so it's really for you that you want this lab manual. I don't care how you print it on the back of recycled paper. You can shrink it down a little bit, but don't make it so tiny that it's not usable. It needs to be usable. So you're going to bring that with you each week. Okay? So that's my recommendation. Here you can email me. If you click here, you get a very easy way to email me directly. And then my info here with my office hours. Sometimes students want to come by campus. You're welcome to do that. I do have other genetics courses. There's 3 sections that I'm teaching this semester, so I know I get a question often if in certain circumstances can I attend a different lab. Yes, it needs to be that same week. So there's no makeup labs, but if you need to attend a different section, that's not really a makeup, that's just a reschedule. But it has to be during that same week. Otherwise, you do get to drop 1 lab grade due to absence, but I don't recommend it because it really throws you off a little bit in terms of kind of keeping up a certain momentum in the course. So I will see you this week. Hopefully this intro has been helpful. What I would recommend then for you to be doing this week is print out that first PowerPoint, maybe the second chapter as well. Watch those recorded lectures, write down really good notes, write down any questions you have. Try to get through the first 2 chapters if you can, at least the first chapter. And then also print out your lab manual and bring that to class and bring questions or send me an email. If you want to join my Remind, I have the instructions are on that Start Here announcement that I'll be posting or have posted by the time you see this. I think it's you text at 2416 BIT, B-U-E-T-T, to the number 81010. So I'll be giving you those instructions elsewhere as well. So thank you, and I look forward to meeting you.